Good morning, Northwest. Please start Titan Connect.
I had that color.
Good morning, Northwest. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. What's the rest?
And to the republic.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
Standing for the dress code check.
Alrighty, Northwest, and then please remain standing for our dress code check. Alrighty, you guys can all take a seat. Actually, what I want to talk about a little bit is, since we just did the dress code check, is just some reminders on our dress code. So we want to make sure, number one, is that we are not showing skin, especially with the belly shirts and showing our back skin. Those kinds of things, that is an actual violation.
Every day, more than 13,000 school buses operate on routes throughout
so please
North
make sure
Carolina,
that you
carrying
are
almost
dressing
800,000
appropriately for
students.
school.
Following
One thing
safety
to notice, too,
guidelines,
is, like, if you can raise your hands up and your shirt is coming up over your waist. That's something that we need to work on as well, because that is part of our...
Good morning, Titan teachers and staff. The final bus has arrived on campus. Students are currently unloading and heading to class. Please finalize attendance after the students have made it to your class this morning. Thank you.
So we're just always being cognizant of our dress code, making sure, especially pulling our pants up as above the waist, making sure that we are not showing that skin and that we are following the dress code to a T. That includes the hoodies. I know it was a cooler morning this morning, and some of the students were coming into the building with their hoods on. You just know once you get off the bus or off the car rider lot and you're entering into the actual school building, that you're taking those hoods off, you're taking off those items, so that we are always abiding by our dress code policy. So please make sure we are aware of that. Also, another thing that we talked about and your teachers have been discussing with you is gum in the classroom and gum here at school. We talked about that at the core meetings as well, that we know that we are a gum-free campus. So teachers then I know have been because of the first couple of weeks, have been giving grace on that and giving warnings and so forth. But those are items that will cause you to get minors. And we definitely want to avoid that, because that's really not a great way to get a minor, is because we're just not following that simple, as we do not have gum here on campus. That includes candies and so forth. All of these things we did address at those core meetings. We're just providing those friendly reminders when it comes to that. So please make sure that you are following those rules, listening to your teachers in the classroom, being respectful of everything that we have going on today. Also today, we do have our first Wednesday game day, so shout out to our athletes today, and good luck to them as they will be leaving here on campus around like 3:15. So we want to wish the best to our athletes here at Northwest. Go Titans. And then what I want to talk about before I actually get into this day in history, which is typically what I do on my Wednesdays, is the bus evacuation video is going to be shown right after we end our Titan Connect show. So everybody's going to be watching it. Teachers, I did send out a Google form this morning to take attendance for those who are absent today, so that I am fully aware that they need to be looking at the video once we show it today. So please fill that out after we show. It's a quick, like 9.5-minute video about proper bus evacuation. We know that a majority of our students are bus riders, so this is just like we do with our safety drills, with our fire drills, our blackouts, on our lockdown drills, and our safety checks, all of that. This is equally important to make sure that we are staying safe on our buses, that we are following bus rules and regulations and policies. Bus drivers' number one job is to get you here to school safe and to get you home safe. And in order to do that, they need to make sure that they are not being distracted while they are driving the bus. And that includes loud noises on the bus, or acting out on the bus, or getting up and moving around on the bus when the bus is in motion. Those are, pretty simple rules that we have on the bus, and the sole purpose for those is to keep you all safe, because the bus driver already has to deal with a lot with driving that large of a vehicle with 50 plus students on a bus. That's a lot to handle. So we want to make sure that we're making it as easy as possible for all of our bus drivers to be able to get you here to school safe and to get you home safe. And always remember, when I do step on buses and have to speak to some of the students, bus is a privilege. It is not a right here. That we want to make sure that you're continuing following the rules. But please keep that in mind, is that we want a safe bus. Bus driver has a great responsibility to get a lot of these students home. So please be respectful of those bus drivers, paying close attention to a bus evacuation in case if there was ever an emergency that would need to take place, that we understand as students, as staff, the importance of that. All right, so that being said, I'm going to get into very quickly is this day in history, and that is August 21st. So we take a look here, and the very first thing it says is Hawaii, actually, in 1959, it actually becomes the 50th state of the United States. One of the big reasons for that is because it created a major port for our Navy during the time of World War II. So when we had the War in the Pacific Theater, as it is known, Hawaii played a major role in that. And with that, and the continued resources and Navy facilities that are still active there in Hawaii, it was named the 50th state in the United States. Hawaii also plays a big role in our history because we had on December 7th of 1941, how we got involved in World War II, was the bombing of Pearl Harbor, which was one of the ports for the Navy that was located in Hawaii, where the Japanese had a surprise attack in the morning of, I almost said September 11th, December 7th of 1941. We also have the founding of PETA. Okay, and this is, the people for the ethical treatment of animals. So this was created, and we've seen a lot of their protests and slogans and so forth to making sure that when we come to animal protection and we're not doing experiments and those kinds of things on animals that are considered to be unnatural. This organization was founded. We have several celebrities that have played a big role in PETA. One of them is probably a name maybe you may not have heard but her name was Pamela Anderson. She was a big star back in the 90s and early 2000s, but she has always been a big proponent of PETA. So we're always making sure that we're treating our animals humanely. And then finally is when it comes to the rebellion, it was actually Nat Turner's rebellion. This took place in the time of colonization. It was known as the largest slave rebellion that actually took place in American history, right up until the time that we get to the Civil War. So that was something that happened on this date back in the time of the colonial days in the United States. The other thing I wanted to mention, because the Olympics just concluded over in Paris, is that on this day in history is the famous swimmer Michael Phelps. He won 8 gold medals in Beijing, which is still the record to this date. So it was a crushing performance. That it was just amazing to see an athlete on that world stage be able to do what he did in Beijing and win 8 gold medals, guys. So I mean, it's an incredible feat. So again, we had so many things that were happening on this date in history. We continue to make history each and every day, and I wish you guys all the best, all the athletes, all the best today. And remember to be responsible, be safe, and be respectful out there, Northwest. We appreciate you, and have a wonderful Wednesday.
Every day, more than 13,000 school buses operate on routes throughout North Carolina, carrying almost 800,000 students. Following safety guidelines, practicing bus evacuations, and obeying your bus driver can help make your trip a safe, uneventful one. But on rare occasions, it may be necessary to evacuate your bus due to an emergency. While these occurrences are extremely rare, it is always best to be prepared. For the next few minutes, we'll show you when you may need to evacuate and how to do it safely and properly. We'll look at the many emergency exits and where they're located on North Carolina buses, and we'll show you what to do after you evacuate. Again, you will probably never need to do this, but paying attention for the next few minutes will help you exit the bus quickly, safely, and orderly in the event of an emergency. It could also save your life. Let's begin with when you should evacuate your school bus. Smoke or fire. The bus ends up in deep water. The bus is disabled and could be struck by a vehicle the same size or larger. Extreme weather, such as a tornado. Or the bus is stuck on a railroad crossing. If none of these conditions apply, it may actually be safer for you to stay on the bus. Remember that your bus driver is in charge and is the only person who can declare an emergency and tell you to evacuate. In the unlikely event your driver has been hurt, you should calmly follow these procedures and call for help once you are clear of the bus. First, when you are riding the bus, remain in your seats and keep the aisle open and clear. Second, always be aware of where the exits are located. Your North Carolina school bus is equipped with several exits. It is always important to determine which exit method is best depending on the type of emergency. The front entry door is the most common place to exit. There are emergency side windows, the rear emergency door, roof escape hatches, and a lift if equipped. In the event of an emergency, establish which exit will be best to use. Again, the most common door for exiting will always be the front, but sometimes the front door may be blocked. The second most common exit is the rear emergency door. Note, in a few buses, the rear emergency door might be on the side of the bus. If your driver directs you to the back of the bus, leave all of your personal items such as backpacks or purses on your seat. Do not take them with you when you leave the bus. Calmly move to the back of the bus and open the emergency door. Designated student helpers should exit first from the back of the bus, making sure everything is safe. Once safely on the ground, assist your fellow students as they exit one by one. 2 student helpers are needed, 1 student on each side of the exit area to assist. Remember to watch out for anything that could be dangerous after you have exited. This could include downed power lines, spilled fuel, traffic, and in some cases, animals. Once you've determined there are no immediate dangers, move to a safe location away from the bus. Exiting through windows or the roof may be required during some emergencies. like if the bus is leaned onto one side or it is in deep water. If you must use the designated window exits, release the lever. The windows will swing out or up. They do not fall out of the bus. When it is clear, begin to exit by climbing feet first through the window and dropping down. Again, move away from the bus and look for a safe area to gather. If the bus is on its side or in deep water, you can use the roof hatch. These roof exits also have emergency latches. Release the latch. Quickly look out and survey the scene to make sure it is safe to use this exit. Move through the hatch and out of the bus. Again, move away from the school bus and gather in a safe area. Regardless of how you exit, remember that getting off the bus is a priority and you should not use your personal cell phone until you are safely away from danger. Again, it may not always be necessary to evacuate your school bus, but there are times it is recommended. Smoke or fire. The bus ends up in deep water. The bus is disabled and could be struck by a vehicle the same size or larger. Extreme weather such as a tornado. Or the bus is stuck on a railroad crossing. Your school bus driver is there to assist you and make sure that you have the safest trip possible. Remember that your driver will have the final say about when to exit and where. As we said, the chance of you having to evacuate a school bus due to an emergency is very rare. Most students never have to do this, but knowing when it might be needed and how to properly evacuate dramatically increases your chances of remaining safe in an emergency. On behalf of the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and your local bus drivers, thank you for taking the time to watch this video on proper school bus evacuation procedures.